Hello there, it's Josh here. Hope you can hear me loud and clear. I thought for the preview for Via Electriano tomorrow I would record a quick screen capture video. In front of you, you can see the race, the 150. As we know, Via's been working well at home. She didn't handle Brighton very well at all. When last seen, tweaked a few muscles in her back, which took a little while to sort, but it appears the physio has done their job, and she's been back to normal at home in the last couple of weeks. So fingers crossed she runs her race tomorrow. If she can get back to the form of her Kempton debut, she should certainly be very competitive in this lineup. Her races have been working out fairly well, which is always a positive, and a couple of horses in each in particular have gone on and done some decent things on the race course. As we know with Via, she has some of her sire's traits, Electrianos especially. In fillies, it would appear can be a bit moody at the stalls. Amy and Lemos and the team have done plenty of work. Stefano knows her well at home. At Brighton last time, Jade, Amy's travelling head girl, was with her down at the start and will be again tomorrow. So hopefully between them they can get her in the stalls. It's always the most nerve-wracking bit with her. When they got her in eventually at Kempton, she flew out and she was fairly fast away at Brighton also. This is a 16-runner race. I assume they may try and put her in first. The number of runners may mean they're less patient in getting her in if she does decide to be a bit moody. Hopefully she does consent to go in. If she does go in first, she could of course always be also be sat in the stalls for a little bit, so we'll see how that impacts her. But yeah, all being well, she will go in, bounce out, and then we'll see. It's her first run over 6 furlongs. Kempton effort suggests she should get the trip no problem, as does her breeding. Obviously that means Stefano won't be ultra aggressive from the gate. It will very much be a question of jumping out, seeing which position she takes, seeing where she naturally kind of slots in and going from there. Before I touch on the others, I'll just touch on the pace map. Of course, the ones you can see have racecourse experience. I've ordered this in terms of the draw, 1 being kind of the far side of the tracks, 16 being near this standside rail. The stalls are officially in the centre, but with 16 runners, they usually spread right across the track depending on what they've done with the rails, and I'd kind of expect them to kind of go down middle to near side. If she does break fast, obviously Stefano won't be, like I said, won't be ultra aggressive, but given those with experience have never kind of been bustled up, or certainly on their debut and recent starts haven't been aggressively ridden from near the front, he might be able to just get out on her natural pace. May see her kind of amble to the head of affairs. We'll see. Of course, something which is unraced might well start quickly and blast out. We'll see, but hopefully she should be able to sit in the perfect spot. If something goes on and she can take a lead, fair enough, but if not, Stefano may be able to sit in a handy position. Whether or not he would be close enough or would wish to edge towards this near side rail, I don't know, but there certainly shouldn't be a problem in terms of the draw. And a few of these will obviously could need some luck in running if ridden patiently again, and some may need some kind of a toe into the race, although the Good Biscuit was prominent on debut and might well be up there to help those drawn on kind of on the lower end. So yes, like I said, Via's shown enough certainly on debut to be competitive in this race, if building on that just through natural improvement and experience. So hopefully, yeah, she runs her race, and we'll see where that puts her in this field. I'll touch on a few others in a moment. I will just jump to the market, which as I speak, it's 6:50 p.m. Obviously, with the unraced horses, the market can be some guide. It's maybe no shock that the top 4 in the market at the moment all have racecourse experience. Never Simple is one to keep an eye on. Currently, well, Bet365 have gone 8s. They did originally put him in at 16s, I think. So we will see if the market and what the market does with that one. Oshie Murphy's been booked on racecourse debut. Who else? Santa Rosalia is interesting, just because Todd Mark Quan's been booked, and the trainer can have first time out winners. But again, the market may guide, especially in the last 15-20 minutes. So looking at the prices now and seeing what they might be at kind of 1:30, and as the race gets closer, could be some indication of what's expected from these unraced ones. The same applies to Granny, Budgie, McLovin, both for Kevin, Philippart, Defoy. The Good Biscuit on second start might be interesting what's expected, and the rest down here, or the other next four are all unraced again. Will any of these take a big move and shortening in the market, which would of course make them more interesting? These other two look to need a fair bit more. So yeah, that's something just to keep in mind as the race gets closer, in terms of the market helping us with the unraced horses. Those that have had a run, Coin Power ran well on debut. Well, ran well enough at Carlisle. Wasn't given a very hard time at all. I've watched it back. Very kind of gentle ride by David Allen. Very much a run for experience. It's not impossible he takes a massive step forward for that only 10 days later. The third, the only horse who have run since has since won. This isn't as anywhere near as stiff as 6 furlong either, which might be very helpful indeed. So yeah, he could take a big step forward. The less demanding track might help. It's his first go on quicker ground. He did look outpaced in the middle part. That may have been due to inexperience. And the other thing to say is Tim Easterby, with his horses having their second career start, they don't tend to come on for the run or the experience too much. Only 3 from 135 in the last 2 years. So I suppose any horse which may win second time up and take a big step forward could be of above average ability and worth keeping an eye on from this particular yard. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he does, but maybe one for nurseries in a couple of starts time. The Good Biscuit, Jack Shannon, since he took the license over from his dad, he's done well with horses making their second start. 3 from 11, 5 places. Some have gone in at an okay price, so yeah, it will be interesting. He's 16s at the moment. Will he take a massive step forward? The same Carlisle maiden that I think it is, yeah, that Coin Power ran in. He was a bit behind him, so in that respect, they might finish in the same places. But he was up there. He did press the leader and then weakened. So whether or not he comes on massively for fitness, better ground, quicker ground, and the track not being as stiff, that may be interesting. And the yard have hit a bit of form. First time out 2-year-old winner recently in enough of placing. So yeah, it'd be interesting what the market expects there from the Good Biscuit. Again, could be another down the line. Vice captain hasn't really progressed in 2 starts. To me, looks like needs a bit more. Might want further in time. Sets some kind of standard, I suppose, but does need to take a step forward again. Maybe a return to faster ground will help, and a return to turf. George Scott's are, well, they're not going along great. Well, enough of placing. The percentage of rivals beaten figure is in line with the last year, but yeah, 1 from 27 last 30 days. Yeah, this one needs kind of a bit more, but of course has experience. Frederick Larson's riding well, useful £3 claim as well, so not impossible. He shows a bit more. The Alice Haynes horse looks like one for handicaps and does need to take a massive step forward from somewhere, but again, first run on turf, on fast ground, and sometimes that can be transformative. Thor Hammer Hansen, for more generally, might be useful to note down for those of you who like such things, does ride Nottingham fairly well in particular, and he's riding with confidence. Of those that had a run, Lincoln Royal is interesting. That Hamilton effort, hard to know what the race is worth. was in rear, looked very, very green, drifted right into the middle of the course. I don't know if that was the ground and feeling it a bit, or just inexperience. In the end, wasn't beaten too far, having given up a lot of ground. I can see why she is kind of leading the market at the moment, 11-2 or so. Ivan Vitado is in decent form. Again, horses of his don't tend to take a massive step forward, but the odd one does. 2 from 44 horses making their second start the last 2 years. He is 0 from 44, 4 places in the last 5 years with his horses at Nottingham. There may be nothing in that. I can't think of a logical reason necessarily why his horses wouldn't necessarily like the track, but it could be he uses this place for inexperience or to handicap horses or who knows what. But a couple of his 2-year-olds have placed here, so 2 of those 4 places are with 2-year-olds. That was a fair effort on debut. Could take a big step forward mentally. Is drawn, whether or not gets marooned up the middle a bit or the far side, we shall see. But a big run from her wouldn't be a total shock, especially as David Probert's been booked as well. Royal Expert Henry Spiller ran well on debut also. That race has produced a winner. Took Keynold, held up in rear. Did look on that effort as if she may want further than this. The penny did drop in the last furlong or so, having watched it back. Kept on admirably all the way to the line, showed a good attitude. First run on turf, could take a step forward also, and is drawn high again. Horses having a second start, 1 from 25, 3 places. Last 2 years, 0-8-0 from all horses running at Nottingham so far. But another who is entitled to take a step forward in natural progression. Jason Watson in particular rides his track well also, so it'll be interesting to see how she gets on. But certainly of those mentioned that have had a run, I wouldn't say any bettered the level that Via showed on debut for us at Kempton. And yeah, so that's the ones that have had a run. So yeah, no shock if those that have had just one start, especially Coin Power, Good Biscuit, Lincoln Royal in particular, Royal Expert, take a big step forward. Of the unraced ones, like I said, the market will be some guide. Kevin Philippart de Foy does have first time out 2-year-old winners. First start, 6 from 28, 24 places in the last couple of years. So yeah, can clearly ready one if he has the horse. This is a colt out of Harry Angel. Dan was a 6 furlong 2-year-old winner, so might be bred on the dam side, although there's some stamina there also, so could want further. We shall see, but there's some speed there. Market may guide. The Darrell Holland horse, not prolific necessarily, but related to some speed. Darrell Holland is 0 from 21, 4 places with his first time starters, 2-year-old so far. Jack Jones is interesting simply because he's had 6 first time out 2-year-olds, 2 have won so far. So that's what I said about watching the market. Now 6s. It'll be interesting if any more money floods in. The Yard are in form. They've booked Oisin Murphy, who rides this track particularly well, as you can see there with those stats. So yeah, that's possibly the interesting unraced one. Kodiak. Dam listed place 5 furlong 2-year-old winner, related to some speed and some stamina. So yeah, no shock if mixes it. John Quinn, not prolific with first time out 2-year-olds, 3 from 58, but does have them. This isn't necessarily a target track either. Jockey rides winners for him. George Scott, yeah, 3 from 48 with his first time out. Starters in the last 2 years, again, not prolific, but can ready them if he has the horse. This is another filly, half sisters to winners up to 1 mile. Dam was a winner over 9.4 furlongs, so possibly might need further than this in time. Another one for Kevin Philippart de Foy. I'll be interested to see what the market does with those two. Maybe the fact he's running 2 in 1 race suggests not much to expect there here for experience. I don't know, but yeah, keep an eye on the market signals possibly with those. Ben Brookhouse, dual purpose but mainly jumps so far. Hasn't had many runners on the flat, but has had 3 winners. 0-4, 0 place with first starters, although some of those may well be in the National Hunt flat game. Again, market could well guide. Plenty of stamina on the dam side in particular there, so hopefully finds this all happening a bit too quickly. And Mr. Woods has booked Tom Marquand. Whether or not that will be significant Damn Unraced Half Sister to 7 furlong, 1 mile winner. Again, some stamina there, bit of speed also. Could want it, but Simon Woods does have first time out winners, 6 from 41, 16 places. So again, could be interesting on that score. So yeah, the market made guide. I think Veer's entitled to be bang there against these based on that Kempton effort. If she goes in the stalls, if she gets out the stalls and settles and runs her race, of course. And yeah, there's the odd interesting one that's had a run and may take a big step forward. And we'll see how they get on. Like I said, the market made guide with some of those. But fingers crossed, Veer can run a decent and exciting race and can be in the mix near the finish and gets back on track. But with that said, yeah, we'll watch with excited anticipation tomorrow and we'll see how she goes. But with that said, this is Josh saying thanks for watching, thanks for listening, bye for now and speak soon.